Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great. Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer-mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
Welcome back, everybody. 4:02 Pacific Time Zone. How many of you ever heard this version, huh? This is Hoyt Axton. You may know him from his hit song, Joy to the World, or as kids call it, Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog. A lot of people don't know Hoyt Axton wrote this tune. Of course, it was made famous by Steppenwolf, John Kay and Steppenwolf's version, featured in the 1969 hit movie Easy Rider.
I smoked a lot of grass and I popped a couple of pills now. Yeah, but I never touched nothing that break my will. But I've seen a lot of people with tombstones in there.
Yeah, love Hoyt Axton. A lot of great tunes that he had. Great country player. And I love that that fuzz bass sound on that, too. That's really nice. There was a part of this, though, that was tough for me to think about as I was writing this piece. I wanted to use that line, goddamn the pusher man, about this Martin Shkreli. And Shkreli, that sounds like it's either a Yiddish curse word or an alien race in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I haven't decided yet. Martin Shkreli. The guy is a Ferengi. The guy's a Ferengi. You should see his Twitter feed. I had to sift through his Twitter feed for the research. Ugh. My God. Oh, my God. There's a shot of him. I used it for my post where he's in front of the Flo Rida video, posing and being all gangsta. Yeah. But there was a problem that I had, and that was that I kind of have, Shkreli is just a hugely magnified example of something I don't like about marijuana in the black market. And the song kind of contradicts me, because the song says, the dealer is the man with the love grass in his hand. It tries to make the difference between the dealer of marijuana, who is just selling, a good time for someone, versus the pusher of heroin, who is taking advantage of an addicted group, right? But if you think about it a little bit, the dealer in marijuana on the illegal side is also taking advantage. Not as seriously, right? This is all about degrees, right? This is all about a spectrum, a number line, and Martin Shkreli is the far, far end of the asshole side of the number line, right? Unmitigated assholery going on that side, right? And then on the other end of the spectrum is the person who grows their own marijuana plant and smokes their own marijuana plant, right? Absolutely zero assholery going on there, right? Okay, so think of this spectrum, right? In an illegal, prohibited marijuana world, the marijuana dealer, the farther away he gets from being a guy who grows his own weed, moves farther to the right on the asshole spectrum. Okay? And the idea is this. If I grow my own marijuana, smoke my own marijuana, I'm not taking advantage of anyone. But if I grow marijuana and then start selling it to other people, in a sense, I'm taking advantage of them. Now, free market capitalists will argue with me and say, well, no, you're not. It's a voluntary transaction between two parties that are consenting adults, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get that. But not when it's not legal. When it's illegal, there's an imbalance in power here, where both people suffer criminal prosecution and the threat of it, but only one of those people makes a profit on that criminal prosecution. You see where I'm going here? Yes, on one hand, the grower, when he gets busted, gets far more time than the consumer is going to get. But on the other hand, 7 consumers get busted for every 1 grower. And the consumers spent money in creating their risk. They spent money to put themselves at risk of getting busted, whereas the grower slash dealer, made money putting himself at risk, right? His risk's been compensated. The marijuana consumer's risk was never compensated. And so if that guy's just growing and he's charging a what we used to call in the day friend price, merely to recoup the cost of the growing so that his own marijuana can be free, then he's a little closer to Martin Shkreli. He's inched closer toward Martin Shkreli. And if that guy is not charging just recoup friend prices, but instead charging as much as the market will bear, we know that growing marijuana indoors, you can do it for about $25 an ounce. These guys are selling it at $4.50 an ounce in some places in this country. They are price gouging. They are taking advantage of the consumer because the consumer can't look. There's no open market, right? It's a closed market. These guys that scream about an oligopoly, I love this in Ohio. Oh my God, 10 people will be growing and they'll be selling through 1,000 stores. I'd rather be stuck with my one guy who's always late. I just do not understand that. How is it any more of a monopoly than the monopoly that's created by the prohibition that prevents the consumer from seeking other market alternatives? So I just have this thing, and the farther away if you get from that grow. Now, if the grow is a massive grow, and then that gets distributed in bulk to other wholesalers who then cut it, and it gets cut again, and at each stage, as it gets down and filters down to the street level, gets that additional risk paid for, then for every 1 bag that's being bought through that chain, there's 8, 9, 10, 12 guys along that chain who all made profit for their risk. And if we get into where Stephen D'Angelo was talking earlier about all use is wellness, and we have an endocannabinoid system, and cannabis is how we supplement that for our wellness, now we're a little further into asshole territory. And again, nowhere near Martin Shkreli, right? Martin Shkreli is at the 1 million point on the asshole number line. We're talking degrees of 0 to 3 at this point, okay? So don't hang me on that. I'm not saying in any way marijuana growers are like this asshole, but I am saying you're inching closer to it the more profit gets involved, and the more that profit is based on the fact that people go to jail. The slave trade was free market economics too, wasn't it? But you wouldn't lionize or think anyone who traded slaves was any sort of hero. And I'm not trying to directly compare those two either. Again, way over there on the number line, way up there at the 2 million mark, okay? But I am saying I don't understand that in the black market how people don't see the monopolistic aspect of the black market, the high price and high tax. You know, the oligopoly, gosh, when those 10 growers, when they have control, they're going to collude and keep the prices high. Really? Higher than they are in Ohio now? If so, isn't that good news for the black market grower? So, now, talking about the asshole number line, Ian James and the Responsible Ohio people are farther down that line than anybody who's growing and selling weed on the black market now. Let's not confuse my support of issue 3 and legalization in general with any sort of endorsement of how they're doing it. How they're doing it is awful, is terrible, it's repugnant. Like Steve D'Angelo said, I agree, it's a repugnant way to legalize marijuana. It's callous, it's callow, it's cynical. It's on the Shkreli side of the number line. Hey, are we going to turn that into a verb or an adjective? That'd be kind of cool. It's a little Shkreli. It's a little Shkreli, right? But this lionization to me of the illegal grow market is a problem. And I disagree with Steve D'Angelo on not supporting legalization when you get the shot, especially in a state like Ohio, a conservative, middle of the road state like Ohio, middle of the country state like Ohio. I just don't see how we pass this up.
Sir, do you think there will or should come a time for us to discuss the possibility of legalization, regulation, and control of all drugs, thereby doing away with the violent criminal market as well as a major source of funding for international terrorism? Thank you so much for your time, Mr. President.
Well, I think this is an entirely legitimate topic for debate.
Name the time and place, Mr. President. Radical Russ has been prepping for this debate full-time since 2005. The Russ Belville Show.
I'm Radical Russ Belville, and you're listening to 420radio.org.
As a police officer, I walked the beat, served on the Vice Squad and SWAT team, and became an expert on drug addiction. I saw firsthand the effects of Ohio's destructive marijuana laws. Simply put, they don't work. Ohio spends over $100 million each year on this failed effort. It's time for marijuana reform, so law enforcement can spend their time cracking down on real criminals and making Ohio a safer place for our families. Vote yes on 3.
Expand your horizons and join us every Wednesday night for Gordon Green's Music Planet. You'll hear an eclectic mix of music from all around the world. Catch the first show of the month for an intro to world music. It's Gordon Green's Music Planet, Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, with replays weekends at midnight on 420radio.org. Imagine life without taxes. Let New Era Certified Public Accountants, NewEraCPAs.com, handle your Cannabis 280E and tax strategy. Get your business prepared with New Era CPA's Cannabis Finance Bootcamp. NewEraCPAs.com, with years of experience in the industry, we are one of the nation's leading accounting firms for growers, dispensaries, and ancillary companies from Washington to California. NewEraCPAs.com.
The act of moving onward means we pass these signposts. One of them was first leaving Earth. The next one is hanging out on the moon. What's next? The planets. Onward to the edge. We're moving onward to the edge. Here we are together.
That, of course, is Neil deGrasse Tyson with Onward to the Edge, one of the auto-tunes done by Symphony of Science. Check them out at symphonyofscience.com. Great stuff. I had to check that website out. Haven't been there in a while. They might have some new stuff up there. I'll have to check that. Reminder that our guest in hour one was Stephen D'Angelo, the author of The Cannabis Manifesto, A New Paradigm for Wellness. If you want to hear the replay of our interview, it'll be on at 6:30 p.m. here on 420radio.org, as well as 3:30 and 6:30 a.m. tomorrow morning Pacific time. For those of you listening across the pond, it might be a better time for you. And you'll be able to hear it on demand on my SoundCloud page, soundcloud.com/RadicalRuss. Also, reminder, there'll be no live show on Friday because I will be on an airplane making my way to Boston, Massachusetts to participate in the, 27th annual Boston Freedom Rally on Boston Common, the birthplace of American democracy. I'll be speaking and just generally getting photos and audio and hanging out and having a good time with the good people of Boston, Massachusetts. If you're going to be there, look for me. I'll be the overweight white guy smoking weed. Should be easy to find. All right, let's see here. I wanted to bring up, to get away from the Responsible Ohio talk for a while because, man, I'm just so disappointed in the Ohio NORML chapter, right? And it's like, all right, I'm not going to get away from it. I'm going to say something. To me, NORML is about consumers, especially now that there is legal commerce. Everybody else is going to have a voice. The growers, the processors, the dispensary owners, pot shop owners, whatever we call those things. Everybody making money is going to have a voice in this, and a very strong voice. They're going to have the money to hire actual professional lobbyists and marketing campaigns and everything they could possibly want now that marijuana is legal. So NORML now has to be the consumer lobby. And there is nothing about Issue 3 in Ohio that is an offense to consumers in any way. People that want to be grow business owners, yeah, sure. And let them have their group. And there's lots of group. National Cannabis Industries Association, Marijuana Business Association, Growers Guilds, all sorts of groups out there that are good at that stuff. Let NORML be the consumer lobby. And how can you turn to the consumer and say, all right, they're offering possession of an ounce is legal, possession of an ounce of concentrates or extracts is legal, and that's an important distinction because in Ohio, 5 grams of that stuff is misdemeanor, 10 grams is a felony, not just decrim tickets and stuff, right? So an ounce of concentrates, 8 ounces of weed at home, a half pound of weed at home, 4 plants that you can grow at home. And now, yes, it does take a $50 license. That kind of sucks. But not as much as a $150 ticket or a misdemeanor or felony charge does. And pot shops to shop at. A place to legally go buy weed. No more waiting in the Walgreens parking lot. No more going over to the dealer's house and hanging out and pretending you're friends with them and all that. An actual place to shop with selection and tested, pure, potent, quality product. And as a consumer organization, you want to tell the consumers, I'm sorry, you can't have that. You need to wait at least a year, but more likely 2 to 5 more years. You can't have that because the back end, the business part isn't right. The business part isn't right. NORML wasn't founded to be a business organization. NORML wasn't founded to be a chamber of commerce for weed growers. NORML was founded by Keith Stropp in the mold of what he learned with Ralph Nader as a consumer organizer. This would be like Ralph Nader being against some sort of law because it didn't benefit General Motors enough. It's just, so I'm offended. I'm offended by Ohio NORML using the NORML name, a name that I have had my highest and lowest points of my life associated with. The best and the worst things that have ever happened to me in my life have been associated with NORML. And to be supporting the Fraternal Order of Police?
I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Maybe I should start sniffing glue. My God. What kind of world is this when NORML is against legalization? Greedy, greedy, greedy. Some people are just seeing dollar signs and don't see the mostly young, mostly black people who will suffer for these kind of endorsements. Hey, happy 420, everybody. We got the strong silicone. Let's get it on.
This is Lori Duckworth, and I'm here with the Hempery, Greta Gaines Company, and you're listening to 420 Radio.
The Russ Belville Show is proudly sponsored by the Marijuana Business Association. The MJBA, called by NBC News the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, is the fastest growing business association in the fastest growing industry in America. I've been working with the MJBA for years, and I personally invite you to join the MJBA. MJBA also publishes the popular MJ Headline News on Facebook and the MJNewsNetwork.com and Marijuana Channel 1 on YouTube. Visit mjba.net for more details.
It's time for cannabis facts about Alzheimer's from Robert Platshorn's thesilvertour.org. This message is supported by our donors and Hemp Inc., a public company poised to lead America's hemp revolution at hempinc.com. A new Florida study in the journal Molecular and Cellular Neuroscience found that cannabis promotes the growth of healthy new brain tissue. It can slow the effects of Alzheimer's and may in fact be able to halt it entirely. A long-term study by Ohio State University's Professor Gary Wenk concludes that people who regularly use marijuana get Alzheimer's at a much lower rate than others. This was Cannabis Facts from thesilvertour.org, an educational nonprofit supported by our donors and Hemp Inc., a public company poised to lead America's hemp revolution at hempinc.com.
Oregon has joined Washington and Colorado in legalizing marijuana. We're Portland NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws chapter in Portland, Oregon. Join us as we celebrate the launch of an exciting new era in marijuana freedom in Oregon. Our job has just begun. Powerful interests want to white out the most important portions of Oregon's legalization law. By joining Portland NORML, you add your voice to the thousands who voted for Measure 91 and want it to be implemented as written. The people have spoken. Now it is time for the legislature to obey the will of the people. Find out more about Portland NORML at portlandnormal.org. Attend our monthly membership meetings on the fourth Saturday of the month. See our website for more details. Portland NORML, ensuring responsible adult marijuana consumers are afforded the same rights, privileges, and responsibilities as beer drinkers. Get.Buzz. .Buzz is the internet platform that fuels community interest, excitement, and new experiences. .Buzz is the premier online destination for internet users seeking the latest news on a variety of topics. .Buzz appeals to groups active in blogging, communications, journalism, advertising, and marketing. .Buzz offers registrants a stronger alternative to the shrinking namespace of existing top-level domain names, such as .com, .net, and .org. Get your name now at get.buzz.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Electric Tuesday, featuring the latest in electronic dance music and other cutting-edge genres. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tune.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's time for our Daily Toker Tunes, and normally at this time we'd have Electric Bob calling in and getting us a new tune, but I got nothing in the upload bin, and I don't see him calling in, so we're going to call an audible, and considering what we've been talking about all day today and some of the comments that I've received from the chat room, I thought it would be appropriate to play the Steppenwolf version of The Pusher.
You know I smoked a lot of grass. Oh Lord, I popped a lot of pills. But I've never touched nothing that my spirit could kill. You know I've seen a lot of people walking around with tombstones in their eyes. But the butcher don't care if you live or if you die. God damn, the pusher. God damn, hey, I say the pusher. A man with a love grass in his hand. Oh, but the butcher is a monster. Good God, he's not a natural man. The dealer, oh nickel, ought to sell you lots of sweet dreams. About the pusher on your body, Lord, it'll leave your mind to scream. God damn, the pusher. God damn, the pusher. Man, of this land, you know I declare total war on the pusher man. I'd cut him if he stands, and I'd shoot him if he'd run. Then I'd kill him with my Bible, and my razor and my gun. God damn! Oh, the pusher. Pusher. I said, God damn.
Genetics Weed Nerd. Watch replay at 420radio.org.
The Fingerboard extension has fretted instruments to enhance your creativity. It has new and used guitars and banjos from beginning to high class. The Fingerboard extension has National Resophonic, Husson Dalton, Larrabee, Heritage and Recording King guitars, and Mike Ramsey, Wildwood, Gold Tone, and Recording King banjos. The Fingerboard extension also has drum stuff, used gear, and parts. Stop by the Fingerboard extension, downtown Corvallis, Oregon at 120 Northwest 2nd, or check out the inventory on the web at fingerboardextension.com and reverb.com. At Herbie's Cannabis Seeds, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best quality seeds from the world's most respected cannabis seed producers, all at the lowest online prices. You can find Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. All cannabis seeds are sold as souvenirs and as a means of preserving cannabis genetics. Herbie's Seeds in no way intends to condone, promote, or incite the use of illegal or controlled substances. We strongly urge all prospective customers to check their national laws prior to placing an order. Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. Proud sponsors of The Russ Belville Show and 420 Radio. You're listening to 420 Radio. Listen Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific for Hemp Beach TV, podcasting at hempbeach.com. Skunk and his crew bring you the best festivals and events from all over the country in this weekly show, courtesy of Hemp Beach TV. Entertaining and lots of fun for the 420-friendly party crowd. Check our online listings for Hemp Beach TV with Skunk and the crew from hempbeach.com. Hey everybody, it's Radical Russ here from 420 Radio, inviting you to be like me and get your ink done at Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo, Fort Worth's most female-friendly, clean, sterile, awesome tattoo shop. Thomas and his crew are true artists who can design you a custom piece or use a design you bring in. Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo also offers all styles of tattooing as well as piercings and all-around fun. In the DFW area, stop by Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Trust me, it'll feel awesome.
Oh yeah, welcome back everybody. That's DJ Dirty One with Breakin', original mix. Aloha to Kaliko out in our chat room. And reminder, you can get in our chat room. Go to 420radio.org. The live chat room is always open. Click in there and you can log in with your Facebook account, or you can create your own account on Ustream, however you want to do it. But join up with our daily chat room. Got all sorts of interesting people there that have expertise in growing, expertise in the law, expertise in activism. You'd be surprised. And you get to see the perspective of people all over this country who recognize how important the fight for adult marijuana legalization is. And into that, I've got Speed Limit in the chat room, and he usually gets here in the second hour. And so he missed this clip from earlier today where Ohio NORML, the state affiliate of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, which has endorsed, albeit with reservations, the Issue 3 marijuana legalization amendment in Ohio, the state affiliate, on the other hand, has joined the Fraternal Order of Police in officially opposing the initiative to legalize marijuana, and here is their rationale.
There's a lot of very good arguments, I think, on both sides. However, most of the marijuana advocates I have worked with through NORML and other organizations find that we feel that we have more strength than I think sometimes we realize. Our position is that for decades, being a marginalized political group, people are just used to feeling like they're powerless and that they're going to take whatever's given to them. And what's happening is that, from a certain perspective that I agree with, wealthy interests are seeing that this is going to happen and they're trying to get their piece of the pie too. And so that has created a conflict of ideology with many who say, well, I want marijuana legalization, but I don't want it on these terms. I want it on our terms. We want it on the terms of marijuana advocates who've been in the trenches for decades. We want it with a more open marketplace. We want it to be something that's participatory for all Ohioans, not just 10 investors. And that's why we've taken the position that we have. And though it seems like, obviously, in a way, it seems like a loss, like a short term, like, we lost this issue. We do feel that there's enough momentum growing here in Ohio and elsewhere that we will see legalization on our terms within a few years' time, and ideally federal legalization here within maybe 5 to 10 years. So that's why we've taken the stance that we have.
Remarkable, isn't it? Well, first of all, federal legalization in 5 to 10 years doesn't mean that the feds declare that everyone gets to use marijuana and now we get to have farmers markets. Federal legalization of marijuana means we've taken it off the controlled substances list and now the states are free to do with it as they choose. And many of them will choose to continue having it as a criminal substance, as apparently Ohio NORML wants to. This idea that there's this great momentum and we have more, I love that line about we have more power, and this intimation that, don't just take anything that's given to you. Don't just take anything that's given to you. We've got more power. I'm reminded of something that Jody Emery said during the 2012 I-502 campaign, and it was, if you're getting whipped 7 days a week and they offer you weekends off, you don't complain that it's not an end to whipping. You take the weekend off and figure out how to get the whip. Right? We have more power. What is this power? We are criminals. We are subject to harassment by police, legal harassment by police because of the way we smell, or because of what we may have on us, or because they don't like the way we look and made a drug dog fake an alert. What's this power we have? And to do it, the majority of marijuana reformers, which, by the way, I don't think there's been a poll that has said that a majority of marijuana reformers are against this, but the idea that we need to get marijuana legalization on our terms because we've been the ones fighting in the trenches all these years. Yeah, and where did the marijuana legalization ever happen? See, fighting in the trenches all these years is all well and good, but accomplishing something would have been nice. And that's not to say that, we expect anybody to win right out of the gates, but at least get something on the ballot. Nobody in Ohio until now has ever gotten marijuana legalization on the ballot. Let me verify that with ballotpedia.org. Just in case, maybe I missed something in the 70s, but I don't think so. Let's see. Ballot measures by state. Ohio. A medical marijuana initiative in 2013 that never made the ballot, and this one that made the ballot for legalization in 2015. That's it, according to the internets, at least ballotpedia.org. But don't worry, something better is coming along. There's two birds in that bush over there. And I've already pointed out how this idea that, it's decrim, it's a small price to pay. No, it's a small price a young black kid will pay. You, sir, head of Ohio NORML, whoever the hell you are, middle-aged white guy, no, you probably can just chill and wait for the next best legalization. And yeah, you're normal. You might have a hookup too. You might have a pretty decent hookup. You might be growing your own. Who knows? But yeah. And this doom and gloom from them, this idea, oh my God, wealthy interests are trying to get their piece of the pie. Okay. And in doing so, they're actually creating the pie. Right? Wealthy interests are baking and creating the pie, the legal pie of marijuana. And yes, they're going to take a slice of that. But here's the thing. They act as if this is permanent. See, the argument they make, the argument this guy makes where he says, well, there's momentum and we'll have power. And by 10 years, federal government will legalize it. Okay, so doesn't that suggest then if we've got more power in the future, we can mold and change an existing legalization to be more to our liking? Why wait? Why not get all the good shit that you get in issue 3? And folks, there's a lot of good shit. It's as good as Oregon legalization in many respects, and better on the medical side in many respects. The biggest one I can think of is that it allows patients to use their medicine at work. No other medical marijuana state has that. So the idea that you would throw away the massive amount of good that you can have, and it's a bit selfish too. It's a bit selfish. If you're a marijuana reformer, this isn't just a state-by-state issue. If this was a state-by-state issue, I'd be done. Oregon legalized. I'd be getting out of doing this and getting myself a pot shop or a grow or something and making a bunch of money. But no, to me, this doesn't stop until women in Texas are no longer raped by cops on the side of the road because of the smell of weed. This isn't over until families in Missouri are no longer terrorized by SWAT coming through their doors in the middle of the night and shooting their dogs. This isn't over until 1 out of 5 black men in Florida who cannot vote because they're convicted felons, that at least the ones who were convicted of drug felonies can vote again, that their records are expunged and sealed. This is a national fight for me, and it should be a national fight for you. And it's a war. Remember, Richard Nixon declared war on us. Public enemy number 1, the problem of dangerous drugs in this society. Unsaid there, of course, is dangerous drug users. The users of dangerous drugs, because you can't really have a war on drugs. Nobody ever points the automatic weapon at a pot plant. No, they get pointed at the heads of people who use drugs. And people who use drugs go to jail. So this is a war that was declared on us by our federal government, and the battlefield is 50 states. 26 of them, I think, 24 of them, where we the people have the power to do something about it. 26 of them where we have to wait for the legislatures to come around. And we're just going to sit by and let this opportunity go by and give our opponents a win in one of the 46 remaining battlegrounds? Our opponents are the cops, the rehabs, the pharmaceutical companies, the private prison industry that use us as an economic engine, use us as slave labor in the prisons, use us as guaranteed clients in the rehabs. Those are our opponents. Not rich guys. I could give 0.2 of a fuck about rich guys. Oh, some rich guys want to buy legalization, by creating an initiative that creates legalization. They want to have the share to grow in that. Thank you. Thanks for doing that, rich guys. Thanks. Who else is doing that for you? Nobody. Not your weed dealer. Weed dealer's not putting nothing on the ballot. Not any of the existing groups in Ohio. No, the rich guys came in and put marijuana legalization on the ballot. Oh, but they're taking all the grows. At first, yes. You guys act as if these 10 grows are going to be all that ever exists in Ohio. Well, they're writing in a constitution. By God, there'll only be 10 grows. Well, the very fact that you're writing this into the Constitution means your Constitution can be amended, right? So this could be amended, right? And doesn't this amendment also say that the 10 grows can be expanded if it's determined the 10 grows aren't serving the consumer need? Well, I'll tell you what, here, spoiler alert, they won't be able to. They're not going to be able to. 10 growers will not be able to satisfy the state of Ohio. Now, if they do, great. Hey, you got great weed. But I don't think they're going to. And as other states legalize, as this momentum they talk about happens, where other states around them start to legalize and the federal government drops its prohibition, now those 10 growers aren't just competing with every little home grower in Ohio and the existing black market that already exists, smuggling from other places, but will also have to compete interstate against California, Colorado, Michigan, Oregon, Washington. Tops, this 10 grower thing lasts 5-10 years before it gets opened up to more growers. You mark my words on this. The idea that it's just going to be stuck with just 10 just defies common sense, defies market reality. It cannot work. The medical marijuana states, with even their limited amount of consumers they've got in those states that have limited it to just 2 providers, 6 providers, 4 providers, whatever it is, have already proven it can't work. Those places aren't getting medical marijuana to the patients. They can't even pull that off with these little oligopolies they've set up in New York and Minnesota and Delaware and Maryland and all these at Connecticut. The free market won't let it happen. Let them write 10 growers into the Constitution. Hell, let them write that the value of pi shall be equal to 3.0. It won't matter because the laws of supply and demand and the laws of mathematics won't let those things exist. It doesn't matter what they write into it. We had written into the laws and have written into the laws, and apparently Ohio NORML wants to have written into the laws, an absolute prohibition on marijuana. An absolute prohibition. Nobody, nowhere, no how may ever use, grow, sell, transport marijuana ever, and can get serious mandatory minimum punishments for it. And it didn't stop it. It didn't kill the market whatsoever. In fact, it grew the market. So if the full weight of local, county, state, and federal officials banning every single aspect of this plant couldn't stop it, why do you think putting the grows in the hands of 10 rich people is going to be worse, is going to stop it, is going to thwart it somehow? This is insane, people. Vote yes on issue 3. End your own damn criminality.
Jive, marry, grifo, grass, hay. Technically, it's cannabis sativa, the common name, marijuana. She has found a crutch to see her through her difficulties instead of facing up to them and coping with them. And in time, she may be ready to try something different, something better.
Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
This is Robert Platchorn, and you're listening to 420 Radio with Radical Russ Belville.
420 Radio is brought to you by Sacred Serum, who is focused on creating elegant and sophisticated cannabis solutions through its line of dispensers and vaporizers that come preloaded with the world's finest cannabis concentrate. Sacred Serum's concentrate is made on pharmaceutical-grade supercritical CO2 extraction machines that use absolutely no butane or other toxic chemicals. The Vesica, the company's innovative new way to dab and frost, is now available in dispensaries across California. Sacred Serum, elegance and sophistication concentrated.
If you're an adult who enjoys a good beer, there's a similar product you might want to know about. One without all the calories and serious health problems. Less toxic so it doesn't cause hangovers or overdose deaths, and it's not linked to violence or reckless behavior. Marijuana. Less harmful than alcohol, and time to treat it that way. For more information, visit marijuanaissafer.org.
You know Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, we've got Frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs, we've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com. And follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher on Twitter.
Watch them fly. Away.
You guys know what that song's about? It's about aliens. We're the aliens, man. We're the savages. We're the savages.
Wait, man, that song's about that?
Yeah, man, that song's about that, man.
About aliens?
Yeah, man, you didn't know that? This country is founded. It was founded by people who were in the aliens, man. George Washington, man, he was in a cult. And the cult was in the aliens, man. You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, man, they were way into that type of stuff. George Toke weed. Absolutely George Toke weed. Are you kidding me, man? He grew fields of that stuff, man. That's what I'm talking about. Fields. He grew that shit up in Mount Vernon, man. Mount Vernon, man. He grew it all over the country, man. He had people growing it all over the country, you know? The whole country back then was getting hot. Let me tell you, man, because he knew. He was on to something, man. He knew that it would be a good cash crop for the southern states, man. So he grew fields of it, man. But you know what? Behind every good man, there's a woman. And that woman was Martha Washington, man. And every day George would come home, she'd have a big fat bowl waiting for him, man, when he'd come in the door, man. She was a hip lady.
That's right. Slater from Dazed and Confused, the movie about teenagers smoking weed in the late 1970s. And that brings me to some extra data points left over from my drug war data mining in the first hour. We talked about the 12th graders that have been asked by the Monitoring the Future survey since 1975. They've been asking them various questions about their drug use. And it's just interesting because of how the prohibitionists today talk about the terror of legalizing marijuana and the terrible message it will send to the kids and what terrible things will happen. And keep in mind that the 1970s, particularly 78 and 79, saw the peak of marijuana use among high school seniors. And it's not like the sky was falling. In the 1970s, 10.7% of 12th graders were using marijuana daily. Monthly users were 37.1% of the 12th graders. Over a third of the 12th graders were smoking pot at least once a month. Annual use, the peak, was 50.8%. There was actually a year where the majority of high school seniors smoked pot. Not by a long shot, but 50.8. It's a sliver of a majority smoked pot. And the lifetime use, whether or not a 12th grader had ever smoked pot in his life or her life in the 1970s, late 70s, the Dazed and Confused era, 60.4%. 3 out of 5 high school seniors had smoked pot in the 1970s. Now, as we look at the figures for today, for those same values, 12th graders, daily, monthly, yearly, lifetime, what's striking is not only that those figures are markedly lower than they were in the 1970s, but they're still about the same as they were in the beginning of this century. The daily use among the 12th graders, remember, that was 10.7%, almost 11%, almost 1 out of 9 were using every day. In the year 2000, that was down to 6%. Now it's at 5.8%. It's almost half what it was at the peak in the 1970s. 40%, 45%. Monthly use, remember, a third of high school seniors in the 70s, 37.1%, more than a third. By the year 2000, down to 21.6. Year 2014, it's 21.2. We went from a third to about a fifth. Yearly use had the, remember, majority, 1970s, a majority of the high school seniors had smoked pot, 50.8%. Year 2000, 36.5%. Year 2014, 35.1%. About a third, over a third, have smoked at least once a year. About a fifth have smoked once a month. And about, a 12th have smoked once a day? A 14th, maybe. Got to check those fractions. And remember lifetime use. In the 1970s, 60%, 3 out of 5 high school seniors had tried pot at least once. Year 2000, 48.8. Year 2014, 44.4. Actually has gone down quite a bit. In fact, the lifetime use of marijuana among the kids is higher than the lifetime use of cigarettes among the kids. We've actually gotten cigarettes below that. Now, another piece of the prohibitionist puzzle here is to talk about how, as we legalize, we send the wrong message to the kids. We're sending them a message that it's not so harmful. Marijuana's safe to use, and it's no big deal. Medical marijuana says it's a medicine. We're sending the wrong message. And the way they measured this in the monitoring the future is by asking them whether or not regular use of marijuana is a risky behavior. Now, I've flipped it to say if it's not risky behavior, right? Because it's easier to understand the decline that way, right? So among kids in the 1970s who said that marijuana use was not risky, no big deal, it was 65.1%. 65.1%. That's almost 2/3 of the kids said, yeah, using pot, no big deal. And 1/3 of them were using it once a month. By the year 2000, pot being not risky only dropped as low as 41.7%. Only 41.7% of the kids thought using pot was not risky by the year 2000. But now in the year 2014, it's back up to 63.9%, almost as high as it was in the 70s. So kids today think pot is no big deal just as much as kids in the 70s thought pot was no big deal. And yet, fewer of them are using daily, monthly, yearly, or over their lifetime. Another consideration that they asked was, should pot be legal? The private use of pot. Should it be legal? In the 1970s, it got as high as 74.6%. 3 out of 4 12th graders thought that pot should be legal in private for adults. By the year 2000, that had dropped to 61.2%. Only 61.2% thought it should be legal, but now it's back up to 71.5%, close to where it was in the 1970s. So kids today think pot ought to be legal just about as much as kids in the 1970s, and yet fewer of them are using daily, monthly, yearly, or over their lifetime. And finally, one of the questions they ask on Monitoring the Future is, if you wanted to get some pot, how easy would it be to get? And they rank it, tough, somewhat tough, fairly easy, or easy, right? And so they combine the fairly easy and easy, and they find out how many 12th graders think it's easy or fairly easy to get a hold of marijuana. In the 1970s, this peaked at 90.1%, not 19, 90.1%. 9 out of 10 high school seniors said it was easy or fairly easy to get pot. In the year 2000, it was down slightly to 88.5%. Still, just about 9 out of 10 high school seniors said it was easy to get pot. And then we legalized medical marijuana in a whole bunch of states, and we legalized recreational marijuana in 4 states. And by the year 2014, it's down to 81.3%. Still pretty high. But we've gone from about 9 out of 10 kids who think it's easy to get pot to about 8 out of 10 kids that think it's easy to get pot. We've gone from 10% daily use to 6% daily use. 37% monthly use to 21% monthly use. 51% yearly use to 35% yearly use. And 60% lifetime use to 44% lifetime use. What about the children? Hell, it's turning out pretty good for the kids right now. And the final nail in this coffin is making pot boring and ubiquitous. Make it old people, old mom and dad, ew, pot, boring, gross, nobody wants to, pot stink. That's what's going to end this, and taking out the profit motive that allows teenagers to make a buck dealing this at school. It's working. Legalization is working, and it's driving the prohibitionists crazy, and I love it. That's all the time I got for today. I'm off to the MJBA meetup. I'm Radical Russ. Until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.